Welcome to our media channel. Here we try to share wisdom in detail, in depth. If you feel some of the discussions to be inaccessible or unfamiliar, we invite you to go over to the Keshava Swami YouTube channel where you'll find much more universal wisdom. We also invite you to join our Wisdom That Breeds community, where we're gathering individuals who want to make the world a more beautiful place by sharing wisdom.
Hare Krishna. We would like to welcome all of you to today's morning program. Today is a very special day for many reasons, and of all the reasons that today is a special day is that we have the good fortune of being joined by His Holiness ISKCON Maharaj on this morning program. I would like to ask all of you to kindly put on your cameras so that Maharaj can see all of you, and all of you can be most attentive in the Sangha that we're going to receive right now. ISKCON Maharaj is a phenomena. I'm sure all of you that are here have already heard him and have already been reading some of his books. He has authored more than 10 books. I got introduced to Maharaj more than 15 years back by a very dear friend and a very beautiful soul, Shruti Dharma Prabhu. And ever since I have been following him and I have been reading his books and taking benefit of his association. Maharaj is a very beautiful soul. I would say that the world is really blessed to have him walk around while we are here. People like this are very rare and very special. Not only is he very apt in presenting Krishna consciousness in a modern, beautiful, authentic style, but also the way he is as a person, the kindness that he exudes and the genuineness that he exudes attracts thousands of people across the world. Maharaj travels practically in every continent in the world sharing Krishna consciousness, and he is a very well sought out speaker in many companies across the world. And he is from London, and I met Maharaj while I was in London for a short time, and the little time that I spent with him, I realized that this person is something special. Ever since, I have aspired and always sought association from Maharaj in so many ways. I'm really grateful to Maharaj for taking out his valuable time in spite of his hectic schedule in America, and he is pursuing some studies in the Harvard right now, and in the middle of all of that he chose to be with us. Really grateful, Maharaj, for being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shubhavilash Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everyone. Nice to see you. Really happy to be here this morning with you, and I'm happy to be able to serve my friend Shubhavilash Prabhu. I could say so many things in return of how prolific he is, but most importantly to me, he's my friend. And when we have friends like him, then life goes in a positive direction. So I thank him for inviting me. I thank him for being, I'm sure, an inspiration and a leader in your community. And I'm thanking all of you for coming this morning. So many devotees online. It's such a wonderful thing. And what a beautiful way to start the day. What can we say? So I will share some things with you on the topic of contemplation. What I will do is I understand that is 6:45 where you are, and I'm pretty much guessing that you are going to have to start moving to attend to the karma yoga of the world that I'm sure you're doing. So I will speak for maybe 20 minutes and then I open it up for question and answer however long we go. Is that okay?
Yes, Maharaj. Whatever you are comfortable, most.
Yeah, because otherwise too long. And then, so I'll share some thoughts and then we'll kind of go forward from there.
Yes, yes, Maharaj.
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, dear friends, today we are talking about a beautiful topic. The topic is contemplation. Every devotee should be a contemplative. Sometimes we use the word contemplation, sometimes we use the word reflection, sometimes we use the word introspection, sometimes we just say a devotee should be very, very thoughtful. Sometimes in Sanskrit we will say to become a muni, sometimes we will say you have to become a rishi. But whichever words you use, Sanskrit or English, the point is we have all been given an incredible faculty. And that faculty is the ability to think and to think deeply, to think differently, and dare I say it, to think disruptively in a good way. This is a very powerful capacity. And what we are seeing now in the world that people are wasting many things. We're wasting time, we're wasting resources. Um, but one thing we're wasting is our ability to think deeply. So I will share a few words about contemplation. Shiv Vilas Prabhu gave me this topic and it's so broad, so I'm not sure if he had something specific in mind, but I will share something and then I will leave it to you to reorientate me if I'm going down the wrong path. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. Today, I'd like to read a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. It's a verse that many of you are probably familiar with. I think it's especially apt because all of you are rising and I'm about to go to sleep. So this is a very topical verse. This is Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 2, text number 69. I'll just say it myself because of time. Krishna says very beautifully, these verses are very beautiful. Stita Pragya. Krishna is explaining what are the qualities of someone who has a consciousness which is transcending the material world. He said that Gandhiji used to read this final section of the second chapter, Stita Pragya verses, every single day. It was his sadhana. So this is one of them. Krishna says, Yanisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sanisa pasyato mune. Krishna says, what is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled. And the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. This is a very mystical verse, very beautiful. One time the devotees, they were traveling with Prabhupada, they recited this verse and they asked Prabhupada, what is the meaning of this? And the devotee quoted the verse. Prabhupada said 4 a.m. He said, yeah, we know that's the time of Mangalarti, Prabhupada. So, no, Prabhupada, what's the meaning of this verse? And Prabhupada said the meaning of this verse is the materialistic people look at you and they think you're mad, and you look at the materialistic people and you think they are mad. That was Prabhupada's analysis of this verse. Let's see what he writes in the purport. There are two classes of intelligent men. So Prabhupada is actually very nice. He's giving credit even to the materialists. One is intelligent in material activities for sense gratification, and the other is introspective and awake to the cultivation of self realization. Activities of the introspective sage or thoughtful man are night for the persons materially absorbed. Materialistic persons remain asleep in such a night due to their ignorance of self realization. The introspective sage remains alert in the night of materialistic men. The sage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of spiritual culture, whereas the man in materialistic activities, being asleep to self realization, dreams of varieties of sense pleasure, feeling sometimes happy and sometimes distressed in his sleeping condition. The introspective man is always indifferent to materialistic happiness and distress. He goes on with his self realization activities undisturbed by material reactions. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the commentary, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining, basically, Srila Prabhupada has taken his commentary. He's explaining that when the materialistic people are awake, running around in the world, working hard, endeavoring, sacrificing, extending themselves for material sense gratification, the spiritualist, the introspective sage, the self control knows how to watch it. They don't get involved in the world. You see, when you wake up in the morning and you do japa, you elevate your consciousness and you go into the world, then you are in the world, but you are elevated. So you are there, but you're not in the rat race. And Srila Prabhupada said, in the same way, when the spiritualists, they are awake to the ultimate goal of life. Meanwhile, the materialistic individuals are sleeping. Prabhupada said, just like a frog croaking and the snake is coming inconspicuously, kala sarpa, and it takes away someone's life. So, like this, there is a contrast that Krishna is giving here. And this is very, very powerful for us. The whole purpose of Krishna speaking the Bhagavad Gita is to turn everyone into an introspective sage, is to turn everyone into a contemplative. Basically, if you look at the Gita, there is a progression. Some people are seeing life through the senses. Then there are those who are seeing life through the sentiments. So, for example, in the beginning of the Gita, Krishna says to Arjun says to Krishna, Senayor ubhayor madhye ratham stapaya mechuta. Achyuta, take my rath to the middle so I can see everyone. At that time, Arjun is just talking about seeing everyone. I just want to see everyone through my senses. But then what does he say? Vipatuscha sharire me roma harshascha jayate gandivam shamshrate hastat. He says, then my body is shaking, my hair is standing on end, my skin is burning, tears are falling from my eyes, because now he's not simply seeing through the senses, he's seeing through the sentiments. So basically, 99.9% of people in the world are only seeing life through the sentiments and the senses. When you go out in the world today, are you going to see only through the senses and the sentiment? Then you're asleep. Krishna says higher than that is when you see through the scripture. Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavastito. Krishna says you have to understand Shastra is Praman. You must see the world through the eyes of the scripture, Jnana Chakshus, Shastra Chakshus. And when you do that, then eventually you see the world through the soul. Nastamoha smriti labdva tat prasadat mayachyuta stitosmi gata sandeha. Arjun says, now all my illusion is gone. So I'm being generous here. I'm saying 1%, probably less. Krishna says, Manushanam Sahasreshu is less. But this is basically the point that either we are contemplative, introspective, we basically see things beyond just what the world is seeing because we have a heightened awareness. And that means we are awake at all times to the spiritual reality. So, this is like one person once said something, it made a lot of sense to me. He said, the Kanista sees the Shastra through their emotions, but the Madhyam sees their emotions through the Shastra. I thought, wow, that makes a lot of sense, right? Because most people, even when we're in Krishna consciousness, we're still seeing everything through the senses and the sentiments. Therefore, devotees get bewildered. Sometimes something terrible will happen. Of course, we have a soft heart, it's difficult. But a devotee should not be bewildered because they should understand. This is the Krishna is telling me. This is what that means they're not seeing through the eyes of Shastra. So the whole purpose of Krishna consciousness is to become deeply thoughtful. A muni means one who thinks deeply. Rishi comes from drishya. It means you have a different vision. Vision. Um, and we all have the capacity. But what often happens in Krishna consciousness is as time goes by, we lose this capacity to think, to contemplate, to introspect. We become mechanical. We become familiar. We become complacent. Anyone who took up Krishna consciousness seriously, you basically rebelled to some extent against the world. You must have been thinking very, very deeply that something is not right here in the material world. I need to do something different. If you are chanting, if you took up the sadhana practice, if you do like 16 rounds a day, at one point in your life, you must have been thinking very, very deeply to be able to go against the grain of the world in such a radical way. But the amazing thing is, in the beginning of Krishna consciousness, we think very much. We question everything. We have so many doubts about everything and we're hungry for knowledge. But once we're in, oftentimes we lose that capacity of thinking, of reflecting, of contemplating, of being deeply thoughtful. And therefore, the whole purpose of Krishna consciousness is to become introspective. Now, sometimes people ask, what's the difference between being introspective and being speculative? Because speculation, no good, right? The mental platform. So, how do you know when you're being introspective and when you're being speculative? There could be many answers to this, and feel free to share your answers on the chat. I'll give you some of the ideas that came to my mind. The first thing is that when you are being introspective, then you're thinking about things deeply with respect to Guru Sadhu Shastra. But when you are being speculative, then you are thinking, but you are only going within the realms of your own intellect and mind. And that kind of churning will not get you anywhere. So be a deep thinker, but be a deep thinker with the help of Guru Sadhu Shastra. And then that will become deep introspection, right? When you are being introspective, there are tangible outcomes. But when you are being speculative, there's just confusion. There's no action. there's no movement forward. Introspection should always lead to something tangible, some call to action, right? Introspection is supported by consultation. So sometimes people think, oh, introspection means I have to figure it out all myself. No, you think deeply, you question, you reflect, but then take it to others and get their feedback. Whereas when you're speculative, it's all done alone. And that is very, very dangerous. So you should, a devotee always finds others who they can share um, their thoughts with to deepen their thoughts. Right? Introspection is done in relationship to Krishna. We try to understand, where does Krishna fit in? How does this relate to my relationship with Krishna? How does this affect my service to Krishna? It's always done in relationship to Krishna, whereas speculation is just self-centered. It's about me, my life, my problems, my desires, my decisions, aham mameti. And therefore, it doesn't take us anywhere creative in our life. And finally, you'll know whether you're introspecting because it will be progressive and creative. Whereas speculation will be negative and limiting. So you will know by the effect whether you're speculating or you're introspecting. So sometimes we hear a lot in the Krishna consciousness movement, don't trust your mind, don't follow your thoughts. Um, that basically the purpose of all of those statements is to say, don't be speculative. But when we take those statements and then we forget that we also have the opportunity to introspect, we have the responsibility to introspect. Then what happens is, as long as we exercise that capability, we will move in a very progressive direction in our life. And therefore, in one purport, if I remember correctly, 4:24-29, I think, Prabhupada says a devotee is as thoughtful as a non-devotee is speculative. So think deeply about introspection. I think my time is running out here. Let me just say a few more things. There is the world outside of us. There is the world inside of us. And then there is the world of Shastra. And what we have to do is we have to utilize our, and then I would say there is the world of ISKCON. And what I would say is we have to use our introspective capability in all of these worlds, right? There's the world inside of us, and we have to use the introspective capacity to ask ourselves, who am I? Where am I? What do I learn from things? Where was I 25 years ago? Where am I now? What are my anarthas? What are my blocks? What are my unique talents? What should I be? We have to think about things, right? I'll show you one thing. It said between 0 and 25, age and wisdom is correlated. But between 25 and 75, did you know there is no correlation or very little correlation between age and wisdom? That's because between 0 and 25, we learn from an education system. That means a 18-year-old is always wiser than an 8-year-old because they've been in an education system longer. But after 25 years, you're not in the education system anymore. So how do you learn? Then you learn from experience. But dear devotees, not just experience, because if it was experience, 60-year-old would be more wiser than a 30-year-old, 30 years more experience. It's not just experience. You learn from experience that's reflected upon. Therefore, after 25 years, if you don't become introspective, if you don't become reflective, if you don't try to understand the world within you, you don't become wiser. You don't become wiser actually just by reading more Shastra. You become wiser when you read Shastra and you reflect. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Right? That's the. So we have to reflect on the world within us. We have to reflect on the world outside of us. There are so many lessons to be learned. When we go out today, all of you will step out of the door. Whenever you go out and you go through experiences, events, you can ask two questions. How does this make me feel? Make me feel. This is what 99.9% of people, this is the question they ask when they go through an experience or an event. But you can also ask, what should I learn? Very few people ask that. Every single time you go through something, you have the opportunity to ask both of these questions. But most of the people only ask this question. Therefore, we don't become wiser. So we have an opportunity to reflect on the world inside of us, the world outside of us. We have an opportunity to reflect on Shastra, isn't it? Vayam tu na vitripyama uttama shloka vikrame yatrinvatam rasa jnanam. This knowledge is full of rasa. It's full of nana arthakai, so many meanings. Prati shloke, prati akshare, nana arthakai. Therefore, we have to reflect on Shastra. Think deeply about it. When I read something, what does this mean to me? Right? Like today, I was asking devotees, Krishna says in the Gita, some look on the soul as amazing, some hear about the soul as amazing, some describe the soul as amazing, and even some, after hearing about the soul, they can't understand anything about it at all. So I was asking the devotees, what do you think is so amazing about the soul that Krishna is speaking with such excitement about the soul? So it was difficult. Like not everyone had an immediate answer because we don't just read that verse. We have to think deeply. What's so amazing about the soul? So Shastra must be reflected upon. And then we have to be introspective about the community. How am I functioning in the community? How are my relationships? How do I understand? It's not that just we become blind followers within a community. We also have to be thoughtful. It's not that now I join the community, I join the movement, and now everything will happen automatically. We have the responsibility to also become very thoughtful even when in a community where we're all moving forward like this. So many things can be said, um, but these are some thoughts I wanted to share with you that if we focus on looking at the world, looking at every situation, looking at our own heart, and learning to see through the eyes of scripture and the eyes of the soul. Krishna writes very beautifully, or Prabhupada translates, the great souls live with the vision of eternity. That's a great one. You can put that one on your wall. We want to live with the vision of eternity. When we live with the vision of eternity, by being contemplatives, introspective, very thoughtful, uh, then our entire experience of life will change. Our entire experience of Krishna consciousness will change. And this is the great opportunity that all of us have. And therefore, in speaking to Arjun, Krishna says, uh, don't go to sleep, be awake, be an introspective sage, and be alert that in every step of life, Krishna is walking with you, Krishna is there, Krishna is teaching you, Krishna is interacting with you. Only we have to be able to tune in and to open our hearts and minds. And that happens when we are in a very reflective and contemplative space. All right, these were some thoughts. It's a big topic, but I tried to share some things with you here. And yes, Shubhilashu, if you would like to add anything or correct, then please do. And then we'll also ask the devotees if they would like to ask any questions.
Maharaj, first of all, I am really, really amazed by your ability to bring out such deep wisdom through such a simple and yet such a contemplative way. I am glad I asked you to speak on this topic because I don't think there's anybody in this world that is a deeper thinker than you. As I was hearing your, reflections and your entire presentation, I realized suddenly that whatever I have been doing in the last several years, you have just put it in the form of slides. I didn't even know that this is what I have been doing in my writing and in all of that. But when I heard you, I realized, wow, you kind of almost put my little journey in slides. I'm really so happy and grateful to you, Maharaj. I would like to tell all the devotees here that every word that Maharaj writes and every word that Maharaj speaks is driven out of deep contemplation. And I would highly urge all of you to explore, Maharaj's books and teachings. He's a social media phenomena. I'm sure you'll find a lot of his, videos and podcasts all over the social media. Please explore all of it. Um, while I was thinking of inviting Maharaj for this morning program, I really was thinking that he's a person who brings in so much depth to our movement, um, and along with a lot of devotion, he brings in so much depth. I'm really grateful to you, Maharaj, for bringing out such a beautiful presentation. I'm sure a lot of devotees have questions to ask now, but I would like to request you to kindly consider coming to this Sangha whenever you have time. We will keep inviting you, and of course, we would be honored and grateful to you for whatever little time you can give us, and it'll really be wonderful, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes. So
Anybody has any
if do we have
questions?
time for questions, or does
Yes,
everyone need to
Maharaj.
go?
Definitely. Yeah, we can go.
Okay, so if anyone would like to ask any question, then you can put your hand up. Um, or there is one comment here. Okay, so shall I read this comment? I think there's a thin line between the two. Most of the times we are speculating whys and whats, only emotions and thoughts. Yet we never question what is the very deep experience within the particular situation. That's the sensation that runs through our pattern of the soul. When we realize we must make a change within, once we know this is healing. Thank you so much. Yes. Yes, it's not bad to feel things. We are humans. We are, as Vaishnavas, we should have a soft heart. Arjun, it's interesting. In the first chapter of the Gita, Krishna says, Srila Prabhupada writes that it was a good quality that Arjun was soft hearted naturally as a Vaishnav. But then at the same time, Krishna is chastising him. Hridaya Balyam, give up this weakness of heart. So we should be sensitive. We should feel some emotion. That's very natural as a devotee. But we should also have the strong knowledge. We should also have the depth of consciousness to be able to understand it with the vision of eternity. And then we don't become overcome by emotion. You see, the goal of Krishna consciousness is not to give up emotion, but the goal of Krishna consciousness is to frame emotion within spiritual understanding. Um, yes, thank you. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank
Hare
you very,
Krishna.
very much for the wonderful introspective session you gave. Maharaj, I had a question that uh, you gave so wonderfully, spoke about introspection and contemplation. But as sadhakas, our introspection and contemplation also is marred by our own feelings. And to come to Sadhu Shastra level is very, very difficult. So, how to see that my introspection or my reflection is really no in the right direction, I would say.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, therefore I said introspection is always with consultation, always with devotees, always having another perspective outside of our own thinking. But you see, in our movement, we go to two extremes. One extreme is I'll do it all myself. I don't need anyone else. I will think about everything and then I will make a decision. And then the other extreme is we rely on devotees for everything and we don't use our own capacity to think, right? Therefore, it has to be a balance of both. We must think, we must become thoughtful, we must look at the scripture, look at our lives, uh, deepen our internal dialogue, and then take advice from devotees to make sure we are headed in the right direction. So, yes, we should not. What I'm saying is we should not become mechanical. Like a simple thing like, do we know all the meanings of the songs? That's a brilliant one. No? I remember once we were in a brahmachari class, and one devotee he just decided to do a spot check. Like, who knows the translation to, Guru Vastakam, verse 1, verse 2. I tell you, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. Here we all were brahmacharis living in the ashram, going to the morning program every single day. We had no clue what we were singing. How is it possible? Because we have become we're losing this capacity to think, right? Uh, so so yes, we should think, we should question from different angles of vision, and then we should speak with devotees to make sure we're in the right direction. Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you.
Maharaj.
There are some questions in the comment.
Oh, there's questions in the comments? Okay. After a full day in the material world, how can we unwind and reconnect to our spiritual self? Could you suggest some activities that we could do? See, eventually, we need to get to the point where um, spiritual practice is not a duty, is not a burden, but spiritual practice becomes our shelter. And so that means that we have to develop a taste for all of these things. There's no magic formula of something that you can do that you don't already know. But it means that we have to have taste, we have to have connection. And that means when you have energy, when you're physically at your best, the morning, the weekends when you're not at work, this is the time when you should try to engage in these activities in more deep and meaningful ways. And then what will happen is the taste will come. You see, attention brings attraction, which then brings attachment. But distraction brings disconnection, which brings, kind of disillusionment with the practice. So, what's the magic formula? We need to become connected to spiritual sound, right? Sanatan Goswami says, Madeka Bandhu Mad Sangin, Madguru Man Mahadana, Man Nishtadaka, Mad Bhagya, Madananda, Namostute. The Bhagavatam is my best friend. The Bhagavatam is my constant companion. The Bhagavatam is my guru. The Bhagavatam is the source of my happiness. The Bhagavatam is lifting me up. I offer my respectful obeisances. So, transcendental sound has to become your constant companion. So, there's no secret formulas here. How long, if you want to know how the real substance of our spiritual advancement, ask yourself, how long can I remain in transcendental sound vibration without becoming distracted and disinterested? Simple. The longer you can stay with the sound, you are making good advancement. So that's how you unwind. All right. Okay. What is the most important instruction a devotee should always remember in daily life? Well, there could be many answers to that. The Shastra tells us, Smartavya satatam Vishnur, Vishmartavya najatu chit, sarva vidhi nisheda shur, etayoreva kinkara. There are so many vidhis, there are so many nishedas, there are so many rules and regulations and instructions, but all of them are kinkara, they're subservient. They're subservient to one instruction. Always remember Krishna and never forget him. So that's what Shastra says. You should never forget that instruction. That's one answer could be there. Another answer to this question should be you should never forget the instruction that your spiritual master gave you, right? If you have a spiritual master and he's given you instruction, then Chakravarti Pad says that should become your life and soul. That should become your guiding light. So you can never forget that. So like that, there could be many answers to that question. These are some thoughts. Next question. Sometimes we are caught up in our thoughts and wait for Paramatma to guide us instead of approaching some authority in the right way. If you want to hear the Paramatma, there is a qualification. Do you know what the qualification is so that you can hear Paramatma? Krishna says, Jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahita. For one who has conquered the mind, for them the super soul is already reached. So you can wait for the Paramatma to speak, but if you haven't conquered your mind, it will be very difficult to hear the Paramatma. Therefore, yes, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Shiksha Guru ke Tajani Krishna Raswarup Antaryami Bhakta Shreshta A Dui Roop. You're very fortunate because there's Dui Roop. There's two forms. Externally, the spiritual master or the Bhakta Shrestha, the great devotee, and internally the Antaryami. So if you can't hear the Antaryami, then the next option you have Shiksha Guru Ke Tajani Krishna Swarup. Don't think that the devotees, especially those who are sincere, connected, that they are anything different to Krishna. Krishna Swarup, Kaviraj Goswami says, they are the form of Krishna. They will guide you. So yes, take advantage. All right. Yes, Anita.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Um, Thank you so much. My question is, you spoke about introspection and devotees. How do we know that the people that we, or the devotees that we're introspecting with, are at the right level for us? And if not, then does that mean we're just speculating?
It's not all or nothing, right? We have many devotees in our lives, and some of them we understand. They know me, their advancement is there. Uh, they have great affection for me, and therefore, naturally, their words are going to count for more, right? You can't artificially make everyone on that level. So there are different devotees in your life, and you can hear from all of them. And appropriately, you will put different levels of faith in different amount. You respect all the devotees, but you may so that's according to your own discretion. But if you are sincere, then in every Vaishnava's words, what to speak of Vaishnavas, even non-devotees, you will be able to hear something from Krishna that can drive your journey forward. You see, we hear what we want to hear, right? A guru was walking with his disciple through Times Square, New York. It was chaos like anything. And then in the middle of this noisy place, the guru looked at the disciple. He said, "Did you hear that?" The disciple said, "Wow, there's lots of sounds here." He said, "No, didn't you hear that pigeon crying for help?" Disciple said, "I didn't hear that." And then they went behind the bench, park bench, and there was a tiny pigeon and it was crying for help, very faint. So the disciple said to the guru, "How did you hear that?" The guru said, "You hear what you want to hear." And he said, "I'll prove it to you." And then what he did is out of his pocket, he took $1 coin and he dropped the coin. Ding! And as soon as that coin dropped and that sound of money, tens and hundreds of people stopped. "Is it my money? Is it my money?" He said, "You hear what you want to hear. If your heart is full of greed, lust, then when there's the sound or smell of any money, you will search it out. And if your heart is full of compassion, if your heart is full of a service mood, then when that opportunity arises, you will hear it." So the question is, do you want to hear Krishna? We don't want to hear Krishna, even if the Bhakta Shrestha comes, we won't be able to hear Krishna. But if you want to hear Krishna, you will hear Krishna through anyone's voice. Right? Like that doctor that came to Prabhupada, he was half drunk. He examined Prabhupada. Prabhupada, it was a Thanksgiving weekend, no doctors, so they had to call him. So he came half drunk, not very competent. He said, "Oh, this old man, he's fine. He just prays too much. He needs to go start walking." Prabhupada took it so seriously. Prabhupada said, Krishna is speaking through him. I have to do morning walks every day. So we put so much emphasis, this person, what level are they on? Can I listen to them? But if you're sincere, you'll find something good in everyone. All right. I don't want to also go on too long. Maybe Shilpa, this is last question, and then we'll stop here. Yes, Shilpa, you want to unmute yourself?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, you said always remember Krishna, never forget him. I remember you more than Krishna because after you came into my life has totally changed, and whatever I am today, it's all because of you. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. We pray you stop having nightmares of me. No, thank you so much, Shilpa. Please continue on and read Srila Prabhupada's books and become connected to Srila Prabhupada's voice. Whatever we are able to give is only as messengers of Srila Prabhupada. And therefore, try to connect deeply with Srila Prabhupada's voice, with his books, and with his Vani. And then naturally, you will also remember Krishna as well. All
Thank you
right.
so much, Maharaj. Yes,
Thank you.
Maharaj, I
Thank
will
you.
do.
All right. Okay, everyone. Well, it's been an honor to be with you and spend time. Most of the devotees are from Goa, is it?
Yes, Maharaj, we have a lot of devotees. Most of them are from Goa. So we have this morning program every single day from Monday to Saturday, 5:30 to 7, where all the devotees from across Goa are chanting together. Of course, I invite everybody around the world to join in, and a lot of people from around the world are there. There are people from Mauritius, there are people from UK, there are people from US, and so many other places also joining in. But primarily, yes, most of the devotees are from Goa. Maharaj, I would really
Amazing.
like
Well,
to.
no, thank you, Shubh-Vilas Prabhu, for your incredible service, for your wonderful contributions, and I don't know, you are really empowered, and we're happy to have someone like you in the movement. So yes, any service I can do, I'm pleased.
Maharaj, we would love to have you physically in Goa sometimes. Whenever you're in India, we can plan that. We have thousands of devotees across Goa now, and we have almost 12 centers across Goa. It will be a pleasure and honor to have you physically also. Um, and we would love to hear you more often. Of course, what we could do is that, being conscious of your time, we could keep it short and sweet, so that for you it becomes easier to commit. I know committing a long duration is going to be difficult, but you can just do a short one, so that it's easier for you to consider.
Sure, sure.
And for all the devotees that are there on this group today, you should know that we have this morning program every single day, Monday to Saturday. The same link continues every single day of the year. Please feel free to join in. We have very, very senior people joining in for the morning classes every day. You're most welcome to come and take advantage of this. Thank you, Keshav Maharaj, for joining in, and
Thank
looking
you.
forward to your session again and again. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Wishing you all the very best. Please pray for this fallen soul that I can become introspective and I can follow in all your footsteps and be so sincere like all of you are. So thank you so much. And consider me your servant, always here to serve, insignificant as I am. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.